Peace family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I want to do is I wanted to talk about how inflation is another way of dividing and conquering. Inflation is another word of dividing and conquering. So, and I don't even really like using that word inflation, because it sounds like inflate to deflate, like you taking away, but we know that's not what's really happening. What they're doing is they're adding on, but then the rest of the numbers are staying the same. So the cost of living has went up, but the money you getting from working slaving these plantations and working regular jobs and shit is basically still staying the same. And it hasn't moved up enough for everyone to kind of catch up and actually be able to put in the hours you work in to be able to pay for your basic necessities. You know what I mean? You can put in 40 to 60 hours a week or, a pay period, and your whole check, your finances is still basically all spilled out to bills. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of us has gotten used to scraping by on less. So the ones who are in that position and the ones who are in a better position are doing okay. You know what I'm saying? But trying to shop and buy groceries, if you're not growing your own food, is going to be tremendously impactful on your resources, your pockets, your income. You know what I mean? The things that we used to be able to go to the stores and grab, Like, I remember, a couple years ago, I could go spend $60 in the store, get all my main basic necessities and then a little bit extra, and it'd be cool. Now, if I would have tried to use that $60 budget in a grocery store, that's at a minimum $90 to $100 for the same amount of items. You know what I mean? So we gotta understand that what they're doing with the finances and resources, they've been doing. It's just they made it more apparent, more evident, is more in your face as far as what's happening. There is not going to be much more of a middle class in between there, because the way they juking these numbers around. You know what I'm saying? You either going to have a really big bag, or you going to be down here with everybody else. The people that's in the middle, they've been kind of sifting out. If you haven't noticed, some of them have been bumping downward, and some of them had to ramp up a few things so that way they can maintain that little space that they in. You know what I mean? It's gotten so bad to the point to where you see a lot of people having to roommate with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a lot more people hitting food drives. Even far as for my town, my city I'm in, I see a lot more homeless people. Like, when I first moved down here from New York, it wasn't no homeless people that was allowed to be on corners, blocks. It was homeless people here, but they wasn't allowed to partake in the streets like how they do in DC, New York, all these other big city areas where they can just kind of mob wherever. But recently, it's been a lot more in my area. It is like, it be making me feel bad that I cannot do more for them, and I don't know them personally, but I be empathetic to people in their situations because I know my life, what I've been through and what I am currently going through. You know what I mean? So, I see whole families on the side of the street. You know what I mean? Like, the mom has the children beside them and, the husband a little bit more further off to the back, because usually most people are more giving when they see the woman and the child opposed from the man, And I don't know his obstacles, why they partake in those spaces and places, but I just say that to say, like, everybody isn't as strong. Everybody doesn't have the same strengths. You know what I mean? And a lot of us is out here, like, focused on dating and relationships, which relationships is a huge part of our natural nature, which why we focus there. But as far as when it goes to the dating and just trying to find people that you can vibe with to fit in your space, as a man it becomes difficult. One, because you're not a man until you are providing, protecting, and taking care of yourself, because you cannot add anybody to your covenant if you cannot take care of yourself. You know what I mean? And then you have on the other side of the spectrum, you know what I'm saying? So you got the women who want their way, but they want a man that's in charge, even though the man that's in charge comes with something. It's like we all focus on these things. Then you got the boat incident. Then you got like it's just I can name a whole list. But you can kind of see where all the divide and conquer is coming in there at. And a lot of us are in this weird space where it's like, it's almost like middle school, high school again. You know what I'm saying? Like you got all these things compiling over here, but it's so much compiling over here that you're trying to figure out different ways to kind of soothe yourself through the day so you can take on a couple more of these obstacles that's over here. Once we all get to a space of understanding, like we are where we at today, right? You are where you at right now. I'm at where I'm at right now. If we know that the numbers, they jugging the numbers around to control our lifestyle, then we should be better understanding of each other and not always assuming, especially if we see somebody walking a certain way of life. Like, if I see you walking a certain way of life, I'm going to put you in that godly light, you know what I'm saying? I know we got to make some assumptions to a certain degree, but what I mean by when I was saying don't assume, I mean like personally engage first. It's always cool reading the energy, but the shit that we in right now, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of warriors that's moving on that God time, you know what I'm saying? But because you catch them in the streets with their hood down, you know what I'm saying? You don't know, and you'll take their energy as something else because they got it in protection mode to stand off, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a battlefield when you leave your house. This is a battlefield when you leave your house. It's a battlefield in your house, you know what I mean? But just understanding, like, a lot of problems accumulate from this shit that they got us in. Like, you gotta process and think about, like, if you had all your bills and then some taken care of, you would be able to process things a lot more freely and smoothly if you're trying to go and grow into a better space. But that becomes harder when you're trying to knock all of this out. You working as hard as you fucking can. You busting your ass. You putting in overtime hours. You picking up extra jobs and gigs. Still struggling over here. But then you still got witchy ass relationships over here. See, they knew that once we start sifting through this shit, we was gonna start figuring stuff out. Cause that's just how it works. Things starts to clear away once you start sifting through. So it's like, all right, everybody focus on these relationships, you know, past couple years, blah, blah, blah. Now we at a point to where a lot of people are starting to break away. And the people that are breaking away they are able to actually visualize and see what's happening in their space and around them and outside here and just in this Western society. So on top of you already having to deal with the weird witchy relationships, now you like, okay, over here, I got to get these numbers together. You know what I'm saying? So now you done minimize the relationships over here, but now you focus more on the dollar over here, which has always been an issue. A lot of people believe that, like, in this Western society, hard work pays off. No, to a small degree, and it depends on if you're moving on God time. When you're moving on God time and you using that perspective in a godly manner, yes, hard work does pay off. But when you're just trying to chase a dollar and you just out here operating in a system trying to survive, hard work is not always going to pay off. That's why they say it's about who you know. You know what I'm saying? If you're not the know person, then you're supposed to add value or substance to yourself to become that know person, so that way you are that being with the resources in the network and that can, you know, just do all those extra things that we're supposed to be able to do to help each other. But they got the system in place, which means that, all right, well, look, if you want to get to that tree right here, I'm gonna need you to grab all of this mulch, pick up all these leaves. I need you to figure out how to get this little cement brick up that I just put down here and put in the ground. It's like a bunch of different things they make you do when it's just right there. You can walk right there and do it, but it's gonna be consequences if you don't do the rest of the shit in the middle. We got to get back to just understanding, like, the system is working on us consistently. And every time we don't pay attention or acknowledge it, we assume that it's somebody that's solely around us that's just doing the work by themselves. This is a spiritual battle. So the system is connected to the daddy. They daddy is the devil, them demons. So if the devil daddy demons is running the hierarchy right here, and they got all their little rodents running around out here, then the rodents is only doing what daddy is telling them to do. That's why I try not to get too mad or take it too personal when I deal with people and engage and we don't see eye to eye, or they just don't agree with God. You know what I mean? They rather be on this open, everything is open perspective. You know what I'm saying? Everything, nothing is closed off, not anything has any structure, you know. And I feel like once we start understanding, like, a lot of these things that's happening, like, it'll make life a lot smoother for all of us. And then we'll realize that we all need each other and we should all be helping each other out here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not one of them people that never had all the money in the world. But it's like, the more I believed and trusted the process and the creator always made sure I was good. You know what I'm saying? Like, always, even if I felt like I didn't know what the hell I was going to do, what was going to be my next step, how was I going to come up with these finances so I can take care of what I got to take care of, just everything that comes with it. You know what I mean? But if you listen to too much of what these witchy motherfuckers is saying, they're going to make you feel opposite, you know? It's not a lot of us out here right now, for one, that's moving in the godly light, and it's not a whole lot of us that got everything, all our ducks lined up in a row. You know what I'm saying? Most of us done been through a lot of shit, and we're trying to make up for some of that shit. Not really make up, but we're trying to grow through the shit that we did experience. You know what I'm saying? And some of the mistakes that we did make that we know we're supposed to be learning from. That's what we do. But then you got the other ones who are not learning, and I already understand that's because of their playbook. Their playbook keeps them in that space, but that don't have to keep all of us in that space. You know what I mean? So be mindful when you out here engaging with people. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't got all your shit together, so don't have that entitlement like you do when you communicate outwardly with people. Because even most of the people that got a couple dollars that are okay with that shit, you know what I'm saying, they spirit is disgusting, so they still in a worse space. So if we all out here trying to find a balance while they're constantly trying to figure out how to keep us divided, this should be something that's crossing your spiritual path every single day, because it's something that the ops is taking steps towards every single day. If every day somebody's figuring out how they could whoop my ass, or how they can, you know, sabotage my life, best believe that I'm focusing on how to keep my shit aligned and how not to let them distort it. You know, I don't like that concept when people say, like, you know, don't acknowledge it and then it won't exist. And it's like, I'm way too intelligent for that. That's like me saying this tree won't exist and then it's gone. Like, nah, the tree is there. That tree is there. It doesn't matter if I feel like it's non-existent. The motherfucker is there. If I close my eyes and start walking, the tree is not going to move. I'm going to go straight into it. And it's too much open perspective. So if we all in a space now to where they basically got women doing men job, you got a lot of men, our structure stays the same. It's just a lot of men just, they don't make it to menhood. They don't make it to manhood. They stay males. They went from a male boy to just a male. They removed the boy because they grown up a little bit, but they just a male. You know what I mean? Like, if you a man, like, you, I know you gonna want some cheeks. You may want some feminine energy. You may want a lot of these things, but if you ain't in a position to be taking care of yourself better, then that's gonna be hard to, because we're not just meeting people organic anymore, and most of these other beings are not that highly empathetic to care. You know what I mean? So And you should just already want to, just as a man in general, you know what I'm saying? Like, long as you pushing forward and taking them steps, like, we already know the system job is to beat us down, so it's not going to be easy. No, most people, it's not a whole lot of people out here that's with 100K, you know what I'm saying? They make it seem like that, but that's not the case. Even the ones that's out here doing YouTube making some change, but you got to think about it. The system controls YouTube. So that's why they limit the beings who are actually giving some fruitful, helpful food, knowledge, and insight. That's why they hinder that. That's why they push that back to the side. Like, you got other videos and content creators who could, you know, just make something about scratching their butt. Unimportant, but they'll be sitting around at 1 million views. Plenty of subscribers, views, like TikToker, watcher views, likes, however you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? But then you got people who really trying to help the universe and themselves in the process, the people around them, the whole package, you know what I'm saying? And the process is a lot more difficult for them, on top of you already being. So it's physical representations is always the easiest. Everybody is in the prison, right? But then inside that prison, you always got inmates who are stronger than other inmates. So, and I mean spiritually, so these inmates are going to be the ones who trying to gather the pods together to get everybody on one accord, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they want everybody in the pod to kind of like start eating and mealing together, so that way somebody in the pod who doesn't have money or finances make sure they do eat, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole structure. So when you take that concept and you flip it out here, it's the same thing that's happening. The biggest difference is when one of the people who step into these positions get knocked off, there's no momentum behind them. There is usually nobody else that steps in to that position for that physical being. Yes, spiritually it happens with a multitude of us, but as far as like, if somebody was beside me and we was in the same space and they was on the higher frequency, and I'm like looking up to them, looking up to them, I like the insight information, I go to them, blah, and something happened to them, me personally, I would step right into that position. It would make me go jump into that position faster. It wouldn't make me shy away or be more timid. We all gotta leave here. Nobody gets to stay. So if you gotta leave, then you might as well make it mean something. And that's what the least, that was the bare minimum that most males used to be able to stand on. We all know we out here sacrificing ourselves, so why would you not do it for a greater cause or purpose? You know what I mean? So just understanding this matrix is trapping us, it's dividing us. His job is to conquer us, you know what I'm saying? Then on the other side of the spectrum, you got the women doing men's jobs. They working way too much. Their bodies ain't even built to work the way that the system have them feeling like they have to work, because there's a lot of men who aren't in their position. And it's just a whole lot of conflict in between there, and we trying to get back to a space. So it's like, you're gonna have to women gonna either have to accept the man and his godlike growing to a space, or you have to get somebody, a man that's already positioned. And most men that's already positioned isn't gonna just have one female. So a lot of people are just like, you know what? I just want my genetics to die off with me. That's how it is. I don't want these genetics. So they just like, I don't want to have any kids anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. Oh, this is too hard. That's too hard. This is life. This is life. You know what I mean? I always was lost with that concept of, like, I was just talking to somebody else and I mentioned up here, like, women have it set up to where, like, y'all just got to grow and learn substance. Like, y'all don't even have to work as far as out at the system, in the system. You're supposed to work for your man and your tribe. But the system brainwashed y'all so much to put y'all in a space to be like, no, I have to go out and work these hours. And then your body start breaking down at 30, 40 years old. I know so many women that have to take all kind of pills that just, you know, they got different things going on with their body, and just because they've been working. You're not built like this to do it. Even with an office job, because spiritually, you're not on accord with what you're supposed to be doing. Men, we're supposed to be grinding and sacrificing. That's what we was doing. even back to natural law, we are still grinding and risking our life. Natural law happens, it changes for women, so why the fuck don't y'all just get to a better space to say, I don't want to wait till natural law, how about I just do it now? Or I don't want my children having to work like a man, you know, or my daughters to work like a man. Why would I not just program them to be feminine women so they can marry off and take care of their tribe? Their tribe meaning their household, their friends, family, everything that comes with that tribe, because we all used to be on one land together, vibing together, you know what I'm saying? So I understand y'all be in that space that the ones here now, you already set and stamped in stone. Like, you gonna have to work your whole life, you're gonna continue to work, blah 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 blah. That's what it is. Not anything taken from them. But you don't have to give that energy to the next generation. That's where I be at. You do not have to give that energy to the next generation. You know what I mean? So, like for me, I wouldn't be in a position where I want to hand my daughter off to college or to the system. She go from my male protection to her next leader male protection, and she will get natural law guidance and assisted with picking that out. You know what I'm saying? Clearly we see what happens when women are trying to pick men. Y'all are picking men how men pick women. Y'all are not men. So it's weird. It's fucking weird. So when you got all of this weird shit going on, then you meeting people, not telling them, but then you got your own finances going on over here. You see how that can create a lot of friction? You done got frustrated with somebody you just met all because of your own financial situation that you had going on. Either you didn't have to pay a bill or you got a bill coming up. You know what I mean? So all of this shit is running concurrent, and we all just kind of look around it as if it's not and try to pinpoint things on everything else. Like, I can say, oh, yeah, well, this tree is always been in my way. Yes, I could move it, I could go around. It's multiple things I could do with it, but it's there. The system is here. The system is here. You know what I'm saying? So as much as people want to pretend like they confused and don't know what's going on, and all men ain't, the ones that say all men is this, you have to understand you putting yourself into an all women is some shit category. So when you say that, just look at yourself like a piece of shit. Same thing with men. When you try to put all the women in that category, you gotta look at yourself like the piece of shit. There would be no OnlyFans if it wasn't for men giving them money. It wouldn't be no OnlyFans if it wasn't men just giving them money. Everybody's fucking up on both sides of the spectrum. Everybody's fucking up on both sides of the spectrum while the system is just laying back, slowly deflating, inflating, doing this financial thing that they doing. You gotta have more than your fucking rent in order to move. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times your damn rent in order to move into a shitty location or a very small location that's in a what they call a nice area. And that ain't even going for the gas or the food or just to live out here. You know what I mean? So just be mindful of how they working on us. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta know how to take some things with a grain of salt, and some things you have to put a lot of extra emphasis on it. You have to bring a lot more, and some things you won't have to bring as much awareness to it. You know what I mean? But just be mindful. Like, everybody is fucked up out here. I don't care how good they trying to make it look. It's a lot of people fucked up out here. And just know that when you see people driving in these nice cars, just know that, like, even the newest, nicest cars, their car payments is like $600, $700, $800. Like, back in the day, a high car payment used to be like $300, $400. You're doubling that now. You know what I mean? So that's a huge number. That ain't even including the insurance. That's just the car payment. Because people don't want to go out and buy a car because it's easier to just get it on credit and do it this way. You know what I'm saying? Or credit, which is another word for debt. I just need to put myself in debt so I can get this car right here, so I can look good while I'm riding. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we all fucked up out here. Everybody doing the best we can do out here. Like, I see some people that I know personally, like putting in like extreme hours, you know, just to change their grind, to change their mindset, you know, to kind of just have a person beside them tweak their energy just a little bit. And it's like what you just decided to do for those 5 minutes, this being right here had been working hours on top of hours on top of hours to pull himself into a better space. For you to take 5 to 10 minutes to kind of try to pull him all the way back out of that space, you know what I mean? Like, everybody is getting hit. Don't let them turn your head. You turn your head yourself, you know what I'm saying? Don't let them turn your head. You turn your head yourself, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't want to run it up too long. I'm tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.